If your brand belongs in the heart of the yachting world, this is where it happens. Yachting International Radio reaches over 1 million yachting professionals and enthusiasts every month, with 77 million impressions, 220,000 social followers, and 74,000 podcast subscribers. Our hosts are insiders, crew, captains, CEOs, trusted voices shaping the industry. This is targeted, high-impact advertising in a luxury niche. Visit yachtinginternationalradio.com/advertise. Your audience is already listening.
Morning, Captain Kerry Titheradge.
G'day, mate. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing really, really well. Welcome to Yachting USA. Welcome to this amazing, beautiful, just robin's egg blue morning we're having here in South Florida.
It's
gorgeous.
It's incredible considering, was it Thursday?
Wednesday,
man. Torrential.
I know,
Yeah,
ridiculous. I know. It's just like thinking, oh my God, this is going to be one of these boat shows.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like, thank goodness, no. We just had that one day and done, so it's good. So for those who don't know, Captain Kerry is originally from the land down under Oz.
Yes, I am, mate. Yeah.
Brisbane?
Born in Brisbane. I grew up in the interior of Australia.
Oh, wow. Far from the ocean.
So there was no dreams or aspirations to be a yacht captain.
We're gonna go there.
Growing up in the outback. No, yeah.
Just doing walkabouts and
Just walkabouts is about it. You know,
saltwater crocodiles.
and finding dried up streams. That was my closest thing to water.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
So where you were doing off-roading and shit like that then?
Oh, mate, that's off-roading is where it's at.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, a reason to have an off-road vehicle makes sense.
Of course.
Even when I bought my Ram, I'm like, where am I going with it?
Well, yes, you have it. That's you just never know.
I can't even get to use it, just up and down 95.
There is moments. You know what? Earlier this year, I went out and I bought, this is really cool. I bought two Mantis X electric off-road motorcycles.
Ooh.
One for my son, one for me.
Yeah.
They are amazing. It's funny because we were interviewing a really fun guest I've known for a long time, Captain Mark Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
We were up at his place, and he had one in his garage. And Tristan goes over, he goes, "Wow, look at this!" And Mark's like, "Yeah, it's a." So I said, "Let's go." We picked up two of them. Next we know, we're up at Mark's place with these bikes, off-roading, 50 mile an hour.
Damn.
Yeah, you don't go 50 on berms or in the but fully suspension, all electric.
Yeah.
Really, really, really responsive throttle. God, it was a lot of fun. So something to consider for your inventory.
Mark, let's say good day, mate. Let's catch up.
Let's do that. Absolutely.
It's the thing, you got to find a place. I live up in Palm Beach Gardens.
He's in Wellington, not far from here.
So he's not
farther out west.
He's out west.
Yeah.
And I love mountain biking. And there's not too many mountains around here, unless you want to go to the garbage dumps. You know what I mean? But there's a few tracks you can enjoy the mountain biking, and in the summer, not fun at all.
Right.
But now it's starting to cool down. Oh, it's a good time to do it.
It's a great time to do it. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, so we established you like to be out in nature in the outback, and you grew up away from the ocean. Mm-hmm. Other than you're in a continent that's surrounded by ocean, what brought you into boating? What was the pathway look like?
So my family are all tradespeople.
Okay.
So that was my destined direction. I wasn't academic at school. I didn't really enjoy school. I was actually picked on a lot. I was bullied.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, very much so. I was always a small kid. I was very sick. I was born in Brisbane, but we moved to the outback to get away from the pollution because I had asthma.
Okay.
And I spent a lot of my younger years in hospital in a clear asthma tent.
Yeah.
Tent.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's real.
So, I grew up very sick. I was smaller than everybody else. And I had a bit of a mouth on me. So
it's working for you today, though, right?
And I learned how to run really fast. So, there's always something good out of something bad, right?
No doubt.
So we're in the interior of Australia, and another thing that set me up really good for yachting is we would live somewhere different multiple times a year.
Okay.
And I'm not talking up the road around the corner. I'm talking hundreds of miles away and a whole new space. Like
wow.
1 year, I was in 6 different schools.
Okay.
So I had to learn to adapt quite quickly into my new environment.
You're not establishing long-term relationships there.
Yeah. So the joy of always traveling and meeting new people is great. But the flip side is having those long-term friends that you grew up with.
Yeah.
That, you could sit back and have a bit of a chat.
Right.
The fun part is you get to reinvent yourself every time.
I love reinvention.
And there's not a stigma of who you may have been in the past.
Right.
So that, it's all your perception on how you want to be viewed, and really doesn't matter how people view you, it's how you view yourself.
Well, thank you. And it's interesting because in my late stage of my career, I've gone through multiple reinventions. And that is one of the cathartic parts of it is as you do decide you're going to move from this space to this space, and you are in that point of reinvention, everything's, the baggage left behind.
Yeah.
It's what you are today.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, and that's so many people that struggle. We'll talk about mental health, but they struggle in the space of mental health. They're all tied into what's inside and what's in their past,
Yes.
and things that they can't do anything about anyway. And what really counts is right now, this moment we're in right now.
Being present, yeah.
Absolutely, totally present. And I also say I live in gratitude because I think that's the best way to bring things to you is it be in that space of gratitude.
Yeah, and you know, in the fun part, you know, why is it called the present? Because it's a gift for today.
Thank you.
And while we're kind of in that space, and I know we'll talk about it more later, but, you know, anxiety is worrying about the future.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got these two things where you're looking in the past and you worry today about something that hasn't even happened yet in the future. So you really put yourself in a space.
I had somebody give me this analogy. If you've got 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future, you're pissing on the present. and just get your head around that.
Was that us chatting the other day? Did I tell you that one?
No. Is that what, are you okay?
Yeah, it's the same one. It's 100%. Yeah.
It is. It's the reality thing. So you're moving around. You're in the interior of Australia.
Yeah.
You're not there anymore. So
so we kept moving around, and then my dad's business, he went bankrupt. So we went from being one of the more not affluent, but more, very affluent people in town.
Right.
But my parents never spoiled us, so us kids didn't notice that much of a difference. But we left town, and we went from having a very, very nice vehicle to an old Datsun Bluebird that blew smoke, and then we had the local church bring us food each week.
Wow.
So we went,
that's one extreme to another.
Yeah,
right?
my dad's staff would drive me to school. We were never spoiled, so we didn't really notice a big difference. But looking back now, I kind of understand my family's struggles.
Yeah.
So my father, he was always part of the Army Reserve, but they opened up a new thing called the Ready Reserve.
Okay.
And it was a full-time job where he would go in and do the induction and the training and get the guys ready. And that was on the coast in a place called Townsville. So halfway through grade 9, we moved to the coast. And that's where it put me in a place where I'd have access to the ocean, but it still wasn't my direction. I left school in year 10. And the reason for that is higher education wasn't important to me.
Right.
Because I wasn't going to go and be in university.
Sure.
So grade 11, grade 12 were earning years I was missing out on. So I left school.
Yeah.
I went to do vocational studies. So I went straight to college and did a 1-year course. And it was all about all the trades. So you'd spend a week in each of the key trades over the first quarter.
Right.
So you'd spend a week swinging a hammer as a carpenter. You spend a week doing plumbing.
Right.
You spend a week welding. Right. And so forth.
A little electrical wiring here. And
yeah. And then from there, you would divide into construction or engineering.
Sure.
So then you spend another quarter focusing on narrowing in. And so where I narrowed in was refrigeration, electrical.
Okay.
And that's how I started my career.
That's okay. That's a niche.
Yeah. And I wanted to do something my dad didn't know because he was a builder, but my dad knows everything, so he knew a lot about that. That didn't work for me. So then I picked boats. But
okay.
I worked there. I was working in that job for a while, and then the company shut down. And then I just walked up a street and banged on every door. I was 18 years old.
Wow.
And said, my name's Kerry, and I'd like a job. And they say, what can you do? And I said, anything you want to show me. And I ended up going from working with thrifted car rentals, where I bring cars to you and so forth. I wasn't washing them then.
Right.
Not that I haven't worked for car wash companies, but I was working in the office. And then from there, I actually worked at a canvas company where we'd make the tonneau covers for trucks and the side of the Coke.
Right.
And then you'd bring your favorite tents in and we'd remake it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I then worked at the gas station that we used to bring the cars to. And then from that spot, I then opened up, the car wash machine was broken. So then I, under the owners, it wasn't my company, but I wasn't smart enough to make it my own. But I kind of ran the car wash side, and then I would dip the oil on the cars and check the tire pressure. And this job came up to be a deckhand on a parasailing boat. And, I was I was young. I wasn't that confident. I was quite shy. And I came down to the boat.
Yeah.
And it was totally different to anything I've experienced because everyone's happy on the boat.
Of course.
And there was amazing people on there. I got on the boat. We went out for an hour. people are handing $100 bills to us with excitement.
Right.
Where when I worked as an electrician, I had $100 bills and getting mad at me. So I'm like,
pick one,
right?
I love it.
And then we came back and I started talking to the captain and all the small things we do to maintain the boat. So I'm like, do a bit of electrical work,
right?
You know, do a bit of mechanical work in the boat, do some fiberglassing. I'm like, this is just kind of like the trades.
It is a trade.
And
it's a boat too. You're constantly having to fix things and do things, right?
Yeah, and my family was always, you know, we're all about have a trade, have a trade, have a trade. You need to have that trade. It doesn't matter what you do later, have a trade, fall back on a trade. So my dad was disappointed I didn't finish my electrical trade. And I started doing the boat thing. And in Australia, we have a ticket called a Master Class 5 that takes about 5 years to do.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, like a 24-meter captain's license. And a trade takes about 5 years. And so anyway, so we come back from an hour, everyone's having a good time. They did the, we'll call you. You know, and like, can I rinse the boat down? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I rinsed the boat down. We'll call you. Can I dry the boat? And I just kept making up a job. I would not leave the damn boat.
Tenacity.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave.
I love it. Hey, fun fact too. I interviewed Timothy Hamilton from Yachting USA. His start was in parasailing boats in Pensacola, North Florida.
Look at that, huh? Yeah,
see, you know what? I mean, that's huge. You can't make this stuff up.
No,
that's great.
No. And that was it. It was, I focused on it. I said, this is incredible. And, you know, along the way, it hasn't always been easy.
No, of course not.
You know, but that's how it all started.
Wow. Okay. And so that was now what, you were on the East Coast?
Yes.
Or you were in Western Australia, East. Okay.
Yeah.
And next boat, how'd that transition for you?
So I absolutely loved what I was doing. And when I went and did my first captain's license, it was called a coxswain's. So it's like a 12-meter license.
Right.
Coastal.
Yeah.
Right. Which would let me drive the parasailing boat. And when I went to school, there was older guys there who were just getting qualified that were very experienced.
Okay.
And then I started working out, well, you've got to spend so much sea time in a certain area, and when you do, it's no good to you. So you could be working, you know, just off Fort Lauderdale for 10 years on that parasailing boat, but you can never upgrade because you haven't been to the Bahamas yet.
Right.
And then you get to the Bahamas, and then it's like, okay, but now you need to be on a bigger boat going to the Bahamas. So I started mapping out how this works.
Well, what's the strategy?
So I was on the parasailing boat, and then I saw that, okay, I love my job, I'm having a great time, I'm changing as a person, I'm getting very confident, I'm enjoying it, I'm getting the fringe benefits of working in a parasailing boat.
Yeah.
But it's not doing anything for me. So then at night time, I'd work on the ferries. It's a bigger boat, same area, but it was a bigger boat. So I put my seatime on the bigger boat. Then the ferries ran out of time for me. So then I went to engineering on the ferries. So now I could get my engineering ticket up,
right?
by still doing the job I loved. Then I maxed those out because I couldn't get any bigger in either because we're in restricted waters.
Right.
So then I volunteered my time for free. So my work day was parasailing boat from 8, so I think it was like, say, 5.
Right.
The ferry was from 7 to 9.
Yeah.
And at 11 o'clock, I'd go to the landing barge and I'd be driving big loaders and taking a watch. And we'd go to this Aboriginal island to bring supplies. And
so you're getting some sea time.
Offshore sea time.
Mm-hmm.
But we wouldn't get back home until 4 in the morning.
Oh, geez.
So
hours of rest?
Well, that's 3 different jobs, right? So
right.
No, I was listing it. But no, I got to sleep and stuff, but I could log that sea time.
Yes.
I would do a watch going over there.
Yeah.
So now I was doing 2 jobs that I loved, but for money.
Yeah.
And 1 job for free.
To get the experience.
To get the experience, to get the next license.
And was this in that 5-year block of time then?
This was in the 5-year block of time, yes.
Okay. What I'm hearing here is that tenacity and that willing to put in the effort and put in the time to get where you want to get, map out a strategy. So many people just think it's going to come right to them. And I think that's a message and a lesson that really needs to be driven home, that if you really want to scale and reach a goal, you have to put in the effort and time. And don't expect it just to come right to you.
Well, exactly. You know, and this is an industry that, you know, there's a huge amount of people who want to be part of this.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what I teach my son. He's 16 years old.
Huh, same age as mine.
Yeah. And he's in that generation, right, where things come to them, everything, instant gratification.
Yep.
And, you know, I want my son to do well, but I don't want to put the amount of pressure on him that kind of stunts that. And my key thing to him is, whatever you're doing, just think this. You're going to be this much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for this.
Yeah. Right.
Just this much better than everybody else. Yeah. I mean, you go into anything you do.
Incremental. I tell my son, too, 19 minutes. Mm-hmm. If you put 19 minutes at anything, and 19 minutes a day for a year, you will be better at the end of that year than 90% of everybody else.
Love that.
That's what it takes.
I love it.
So, when you think about what 19 minutes is in your day, now he's a skateboarder and he's putting way more than 19 minutes in, and he's getting really good. But that focus, that mindset is how you get 1% better, 1% better, 1% better.
Yeah. And then and unless you have put that time in, opportunities don't come to you. Like, one of my career highs was, I got my 3,000 ton. I said, that's another story. I had to go back to school all over again because the US would not accept my Australian qualifications.
There you have it.
And I was go-getter. I was always the youngest in every class I went in Australia. Not because I was the least experienced. I just knew how to get there.
Right, yeah.
I was one of the most qualified people in my town.
Right.
Like, I was probably one of 3 people with my qualification. And I was experienced. And then when I left to come overseas, I had a very good relationship with the Marine Board in Australia. And they're like, Kerry, we know you've worked hard. You're proud of yourself. But just when you get over there, if they ask you to do 1 or 2 things, don't be too arrogant. Just do the class.
Right.
And when I came over, I showed them what I had. And they're like, yeah.
And?
You can go do this yacht master course. And in 6 weeks, you can have a bigger license you have now. In 2 weeks. And I'm like, I called bullshit on that. I'm like, there's no way in the world. And so I went to the MCA. I spoke with them. And they're like, yeah, you're missing one part of this. And I said, well, I sit in the same classroom as our commercial guys in Australia.
Right.
I'm doing the same exams.
Right.
They're like, yeah, but you don't have their ticket. So I understand that. I said, my ticket that I have, the seat time needed for it is way superior to what you need for your tickets. There's no way around it.
No way around it. You got to do it.
I had 2 options. I could go back to Australia and get a full commercial license, which would take another 3 years. Or I could put my head in, go to MPT, right, and go back to school.
Yeah,
and
how long did that take?
It took around the same time, like all up, right? Because I had to, once you get your officer watch, your seat time resets.
Yeah,
so the goal was officer watch. But I had so much seat time as a captain and an engineer, I could have gone Y4 and officer watch at the same time. But I was worried that, I already had resistance against me from the MCA, that if I put both in, I may get short on each of them. And then there's no use to me. Right. So I spent all my time. And as I said, I wasn't cheating. I was doing all 3 jobs every day. So and different boats.
Yes.
So there was no cheating on my
that's
time.
just ambition.
It was real.
Yeah.
Right. So I could choose where to put the time.
Right.
And I chose the MCA route. They gave me like a pass on the yacht master, but I had to do the theory. And if any of you out there went back to algebra in grade 8, I'm sure you couldn't do it. And it was like secondary tides, all these kind of things. I'm like, man, I got a button I press on my phone for that now. I don't do the math. I said, if you can't do the math, you don't get the license. I'm like, come on, man.
You got to do the math.
Math is mistakes, right?
Right.
In those days, the MCA was, way behind in embracing technology. But, you don't fight it. You go with it and you pull your head in. And I had teachers that were less qualified than me. And that's something I want people to listen to. You want to maybe get into this industry and you're from somewhere else and you're a big dog where you're from. You got to reset that.
You're right. You're going to come in as a puppy and have to.
And I was a big dog in the same game.
Right.
I changed games, so I had to follow the rules. So new game, and it was tough along the way. I'd have teachers that were resistant to progress me through because they felt threatened.
Yeah.
And I just did the time, smiled, looked at if I stay, I can stay in the MCA system and get paid more money while I'm studying than going back home and making less money and then having to come back again.
Right. No, it sounds like you were really strategic and you created a plan. Yeah, that's cool. I'm curious, one matter of curiosity, going through all of these schools, are they teaching celestial navigation?
They were then.
They were, okay.
Yes, yeah. I did my sights, the Coast Guard cheats, let you do your sights off the beach.
Really?
Yeah. Where the MCA, you got to do it at sea.
Yeah, you got to move around and be able to get. Yeah.
I was chatting to a guy yesterday. I was in the beach doing my sights. Like,
nah.
I must admit though, when I did my sights, it was an Atlantic crossing, which sounds like really hard. but we're going due west the whole time.
Oh, okay.
So from Cape Verde to the Caribbean, it was
long periods.
Yeah, but you know, the dead reckoning was easy because it's a straight line. You know what I mean? You could drop that in, and then the rest. So I kind of saved half the map.
If you know, you know.
But again, it's the plan, right? Like I didn't want to do it going across because we went, you know, from here to Bermuda to Azores, Azores to Gibraltar.
Yeah.
A lot harder to do.
Yeah,
your celestial,
multiple waypoints.
Just
got to hit.
Head due west. You
Go.
can work it out.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
So okay, you move forward. You got your tickets. What was the first boat? The first one that you go, wow, here I am. I'm now master of this vessel, and let's go. What was that? What would that look like?
So looking back, I held myself back from taking a command on yachts here because I really wanted to learn the yachting industry.
Okay. Yeah.
So there was not much any captain could teach me seamanship wise because I was very accomplished. I don't think I may have worked for one captain that had better knowledge of seamanship than me.
Okay.
Maybe one, if I'm being nice.
Fair enough.
But teaching me the yacht industry, teaching what's important, teaching me relations with people, including yacht owners, marinas, vendors.
Right.
You know, I learned so much.
Yeah, those relationships are critical.
They are.
This is a industry of relationships and personalities, and if you've got that, you can do almost anything. And if you don't, man, it's not good.
Well, just like us a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Having a chat, and then boom, the guy's right here, he can help you out.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And by the way, that is happening.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. See how that works?
Yeah.
So, you know, listen, I'm almost 40 years in. I'm still learning things, and that's one of the things I love about this gig is I'm talking to people like you, and coming out of every conversation, I come out just a little wiser, a little more informed, a little more, and you have more insights to bring to the next conversation, which is so full.
Yep.
Yeah. So cool. So you were kind of strategic in what you wanted, and you got what you wanted ultimately.
Yeah, well, I held myself back, and then I also learned how not to do things along the way. And then I was on a 130-foot Northern Marine for, I think, 4 to 5 years. Stayed with that, but I wasn't going to go anywhere from there.
Right.
And then I went to a 50-meter, which was Mind Games.
Yeah. Know that boat well. I helped build that boat.
Yeah, so I worked with JD, and we were mates. And that was a good dynamic because we were mates beforehand.
Right. Okay.
And we were boys. And then when it came to working with each other, we divided it. Like we weren't mates. Like I was an officer on the vessel. He was the captain, and we could, you know, really separate the two.
Good. That's important.
And then after we could have some fun.
Yeah.
And then you know, I was chief officer on other vessels. I did some deliveries with some captains. You know, some great stories. Being all over the world doing that. I did that while my first child was born. I didn't want a commitment of a full-time job.
Right.
And then my first command, I had a choice where I could have taken a 150 or I could have taken a 60. And my integrity was I said yes to the 60 first.
All right.
And the 150 asked me 3 days later, and I hadn't left to go to the job yet.
Okay.
And my integrity, I keep my word.
So you did the gig on the 60
on the 60-footer.
Yeah. I was going to say foot, not meter.
Yeah, 60-footer. So and that didn't turn out great, but I committed to it. It was my first command in yachts.
Right.
It was it was myself and Littlewood owners from Virginia, and a lot of stories to tell about that one.
Yeah, I bet there are, no doubt about it. You know, there's a lot that happens on those little boats too, you know, and then you're dealing with the dynamics of being full-time with the owners, and that adds a whole set of pressures.
Well, I got to pull from it, get to learn from it.
Yeah.
Career-wise, the 150 would have been much better for me, but, you know, and it just kind of hit me just now, thinking it through, is I can remember I got pictures in my mind of my little kid, my little boy in the engine room looking at the valves. I'm like, you know what? I got time with my family because the boat was local.
Right.
When I say local, it was America. Yeah. Right. Like, so I was in this. I live in West Palm, so East Coast, a little bit of Bahamas. So the 150, I would have been, you know, in the Med for 3 or 4 months a year.
Right. So you understand the value of that family time. It's hard to get as a captain or crew.
Yeah.
Cautionary tale for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So eventually you did get to those 150s and bigger.
Yeah. So talking about being ready for things. So when it came time to get my captain's license, and I had my captain's license, you know, part of the chief mate is a 200-ton master's license, but I wasn't using it. I didn't call myself a captain per se. So, you know, built up, done these jobs, those jobs. But when it was time to get my 500-ton or my 3,000, I bought my time and went straight to 3,000.
That's good. That's a good move.
Where and not that I thought I'd ever need it, but I just didn't want to be looked over from an opportunity that I didn't have what I needed, and I'd always done that. I always did my best in whatever field that I chose to do. Even I used to do door-to-door sales. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't matter. I would always do the best I could of where I was at, and once you're in that space, things do fall in front of you, and you choose left or right.
That's right.
And I just gone through I was going through a really bad time, and a mate of mine, 90 meter in the Maldives, 90 meter.
That's a big boat.
And him and I've been talking for years about us rotating on this yacht.
How cool.
And we actually had a plan to do that. And he's like, Kerry, the other captain is having a family emergency. Do you have an endorsement for Caymans? And I'm like, let me check. And I'm like, no, I've got Isle of Man. He's like, can you fly out tomorrow to the Maldives? Stop by National. I mean, it was right, not National. Got Chandler's.
Yeah, Chandler's, right.
Pop in there, get the endorsement on the way through to the airport. Boom. And 36 hours later, I'm a captain of a 90 meter in the Maldives.
Wow. That's real. That's real. Think about it, going from 60 foot.
One of the biggest
to
shots.
90 meter.
Yeah.
It's a 300 foot boat.
This is 2020. Like, 20 was it? You think of this? It was 19. No, I think it was 2019. I think
right before COVID.
Just before New Year's. Yeah, just before COVID. And for me, it was great because I'd just gone through a lot of depression. And I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
We will.
In a really, really very, very low. Never been any lower in my life. And I got myself back on track because to run a boat of that size, you can't be having these issues.
No.
Untreated, or even if they're treated, you need to be on your game. And he felt confident in me that I'd progressed and worked so hard to get where I was. He believed in me.
That's what it takes sometimes.
And it was amazing. Yeah,
I love that story.
I was 28 when I came into yachting.
Okay.
Well, I had a background already.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that kind of helps. But,
it helps a lot.
You know what I mean? But but I had to start again.
Yeah,
I started again.
Yeah. I started at 26. I started a company in the back of my dad's shop. I had come from commercial diving. I was a commercial diver in the oil fields of Louisiana and Texas. And so I got into yachting, building davits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Boy, when I started at 26 years old, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yep.
It was like, wow, I had no clue what I was really going to do, or what I was doing, and what the industry looked like. And it was there was no YPY back then. Nobody to take you by the hand, nobody to show you or introduce you. It was kind of you do it or you didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting parallel there. So okay, you're in yachts and you're running the boats. You got the 90 meter boat. How long did you hold on to that gig for?
It was just a filling gig.
Filling gig.
Yeah,
okay.
Come in there.
Just got a little time.
I got in there. Yeah. It was just.
How many crew?
It's my claim to fame. 24 crew. No, 21 crew.
21 crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was an awesome dynamic. I mean, just getting to experience that.
Of course.
And I loved about it is at that size, you're supporting staff. The chief officer is a captain in his own right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like, and then the second officer, he knows, like the professionalism of that. And, my dad was in the military, so I have a bit of that going on.
Next man up kind of thing.
It was just, but just everyone knows their part. And then I dealt with heads of department, didn't really deal with the crew too much, but I would make myself present and say hello. You know what I mean? And not hang out too long because, they were kind of setting your attention and nothing's getting done.
Right.
You make them nervous. So just come in, g'day, how you doing? Good to see you. And, do a quick little check-in with people when I could.
Right.
Which is important is, you try to get them relaxed and just see where they're at.
I like it.
But, it's hard at times because, you're the captain of a vessel that big. People really look up to you and that their guard is up to show who they really are.
Yeah. You're seeing the facade they want you to see.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a good segue because I wanted to talk to you about crew. It is. I talk to people in this industry about what I call the sacred trinity of our industry, which is, this is purely my opinion, the owner. Mm-hmm. I think that's, you have to keep that owner happy and you know, in the game.
Yep.
Crew. Mm-hmm. If you take the crew out of the equation, or have a bad crew or a dysfunctional crew, you have an unhappy owner and you got an unhappy boat, and nothing works. And then the asset. The asset's got to be well maintained. It's got to be the right asset for the right job. Mm-hmm. Those three, those things are right. Mm-hmm. All the other, everything else is the fluffy stuff that holds it together. Yeah. Those are the most important things. And crew, I think, while the owner is super important, because without him we don't have yachting. Yes. But I think crew fundamentally is the primary pillar of our industry, because again, without them, nothing moves, nothing works. Yeah. There's no good experiences. And yet I think they're, by and large, underappreciated. Looked at as a necessary evil, an additional expense to the operation of the vessel. And
they're the biggest expense when you look at the budgets, right?
That's right, yeah. And the cost of replacing a crew?
Yeah, yeah.
What's that look like? Yeah, so this is I think it's an important conversation to have about how do you, in today's yachting world, with all these boats coming into the fleet. I mean, right now there's 800 boats either in contract and going in production or in production over 35 meters, and over 2,500 vessels going into refit this coming year. Mm-hmm. How do we fuel that engine? How do we bring good crew in and maintain that and train them and keep them healthy and happy with a good mindset?
So there's a combination of things that I am doing right now. You know, the fun part is, you know, the TV show. Yeah, so we get to, you know, showcase to the world. It's shown everywhere, even in airplanes. Right. So it's making people aware that this industry even exists. But, you know, if you're in the middle of America, you know it exists, but there's no marine studies, how do you get there? Right. So with Captain Sandy's charities, we are bringing marine studies to everybody. Yeah. And giving it a viable option if you don't want to go to university, and that's not your forte, is to give you access to knowledge, understanding, studying in, you know, engineering, being on the deck. So there is a path for you. And the third part is you know, with Captain Kelly Gordon and with Yachting Minds Matters, and that is to support the crew. That's right. So I'm really, you know, do things in threes. I'm hitting it in 3 different ways to help promote the industry. Right. And then, you know, for other captains and owners, we've got to remember when we were kids, right? Our parents said that we were not as good as them, generation-wise. And every generation does that. You know, we can talk smack about the latest generation, but our parents talk smack about us. Yeah. And, you know, my old style of captaining is very different than what I do on the show. And it's not because I'm acting, it's because I'm more aware. And I wasn't aware before. And I'm very open to tell everybody how I used to run a boat. Mm-hmm. Even just now, I was stepping out of the car and I was 3 minutes late because the guy recognized me straight away. Right. Captain Kerry, I love it. You're old school. I said, hey, well, not really. I said, my old school was this. He's like, I said, yeah, mate. I was old school. And,
old school. I love that.
And, you know, but now I'm helping educate people that, you know, we can't expect the crew to change to us. We can have boundaries. Yeah. Right, but we need to bring in things to the industry that's come from commercial that better support. You know, Wi-Fi isn't a luxury; it's a necessity. Right. For crew to contact family. Right.
And let me touch on that one, if I might. Yeah. Because there was a couple things now that you brought Bravo and Below Decks into the equation, but outside of that, for instance, when I was working offshore. Mm-hmm. It was way before cell phones and mobile devices. I would say goodbye to my friends and family at the flagpole where I was going to get picked up and put on a crew boat. And I knew I'd be gone minimum 2 weeks, but sometimes I'd be gone as long as 2 months. Yep. And there was no contact with the outside world. You know, so you just disappeared. You did your job. You're right in it. And when you got back home, whatever was waiting for you is waiting for you. Yeah. But I didn't have that mind screw. I didn't have an issue come up that took my mind off the job at hand and redirected my energy, effort, or thoughts. Yes. Today, these things are everywhere.
Too many distractions.
Yeah, and how do you, as the master of the vessel, how do you control that? I mean, I've been walking around in marinas. I've seen crews sitting in corners, you know, on their phones, and I know they're on deck and on shift. And you know, and what do you see that affect as far as how it drives the mindset of the crew?
Well, we have a generation of those constant distractions that we never had.
Yeah,
and we never had to deal with. We didn't have it. Our public image was last time we're at the pub.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was it. So you've got to have some compassion. You got to live with compassion. These crew has, my children, they have so many more distractions, so many more people, and they're actually hearing what's going on now where it took us time.
It's true.
I was the same as you. I'd go away for a month and have no contact with the outside world. You know, we could use SAT-C if we wanted to send a message. Yeah. And then you come back and everything's changed after a month. So to answer your question is that we still have boundaries though, all right? Phones aren't allowed on deck. You know, there's your time off, you get access, you can use your phone. Right? You can't just turn that off because it's part of who they've been for, I mean, this last generation. Yeah. They've been doing it for the last 10 years before they even come join yachting. Right. There's a time and a place for all of it.
Okay, so it's just setting boundaries and then basically enforcing those boundaries.
Well,
make sure
the boundary must be enforced.
Absolutely.
Right? And I've had that. I actually, you know, I've employed people and they're updating all their stuff because they want to be famous. And I'm like, we don't do that when you're working. You do it in your break. And I caught them. Yeah. I'm like, well, you're out of a job, mate.
There you go.
It's because you're not focused. It's dangerous. Right. Because you're focusing on something else. And, you know, it's a big part of when I do the show. You know, we've got cameras running around us. And so many people you're talking about, I've got cameras in front of them as we film. So you imagine how I need to enforce that. Wow. It's a lot. And
I know people are curious because you just touched on it. How close to what your operation is off camera on a non-Bravo boat that you're running compares to what people are seeing in that 4-day charter that you guys are on camera with? How is it closely aligned, or is there a lot of additional drama that's kind of baked in just to make the show a little more interesting, a little more, you know, controversial, whatever that looks like?
It's a good question. The scenario is we're doing a lot of charters in a small amount of time. So we're in a pressure cooker. Yeah. So all the things that would happen in 4 months are happening in 6 weeks. Wow. Right? Because as you know, turning the boat over is where most of the work and stress is.
And how much time do you have to turn the boat?
And you've got a day to turn it over, and we do it twice a week. Right? So that's a lot, you know, you get all the off food off, on food on, people new, and you know, everything is real. Yeah. It's just that we're in an environment where it's happening a lot quicker than it normally would. Right. And my operation is when I'm running a yacht full time, I don't have as much time to be on deck because I'm planning. I got emails to the boss, to the management company. I'm planning the next shipyard period. I'm dealing with crew time off. I'm dealing with visa issues. So I'm not doing that when we're filming. So I got a lot more time to be more of a mentor with my crew. Okay, yeah. To spend more time with them which is a luxury, to help them succeed. Yeah. You know, and what I love about it for me is I'm one of the very few captains on this planet that have a mirror they can look at. How about that? And go, you know what? I've grown. You know, I am progressing. Right. And then I might go, you know what? That doesn't align with my vision, the way that happened. Or I thought I said this, but the TV doesn't lie. I actually said that. That's a great feedback loop then. It is. Wow. It's awesome. Yeah. It helps me up level. Yeah. And even bigger is, you know, when someone walks away after I've spoken to them, I get to see how they felt and how they reacted. And maybe I misread the situation, right? And maybe I crushed them, right? And I should have supported them, right? Okay, well, you know, so it's an amazing tool that I'm very lucky to have. That is, I never thought of it in that context, but you nailed it right there. That's really good. Wow. Okay, so that's Bravo's Below Deck, and you know, there's been a lot of talk about whether it's good or not for the industry. My opinion is it's probably good for the industry, as much as some people like to think that it's highlighting the drama and bullshit that sometimes happens. It is. I think how many people are seeing our industry and recognizing, wow, this is different. This is you know, it's. I'm sure it's bringing in a new crew and maybe bringing in a new charter too. Well, that's the thing. You know, it's I was very indifferent in the early years when the show was on.
Right.
And Lee and I are mates, so I used to give him a hard time. But it's making people aware of the industry, people who didn't realize I could charter.
Right.
Right. And then supporting business. I have my own yacht management company, and more people are buying yachts, more people buying, selling. That's where we come in, we do refits, we support new owners, we help guide them through yacht ownership. Yep. So the industry is growing. I mean, look how many more boats are getting built right now, and I like to have fun with it. The seas are rising because of all the displacement of the water. All these new boats, right?
I'm going to plagiarize that.
So it's creating conversation. And right now, like, the big part of the reason I do the show is this giving me a platform to help people. I work with a number of charities now, and this platform is allowing me to give awareness. Like, the very first thing I did on my first season, we did a watch party up in West Palm. It was around my birthday, and one of my friends said, "Hey, do you want like a charity event tonight?" I'm like, "Who cares about Captain Kerry? I'm just a guy on TV." She goes, "You'll be surprised." Yeah. So the charity event is my birthday. We say, "Hey guys, come to Captain Kerry's birthday. We're going to watch the show, and we want to raise money or bring presents for single parent families."
Okay, I like it.
And I'm like, "Okay, let's do that." And I'm like, how would I feel if one only rocked up, one present? And I get there, and the whole stage is covered in Amazon boxes.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is why I do the show.
Wow. See, there you have it.
Because all those kids got presents because of Below Deck.
Wow. Think about it.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's real. That's real.
And since then, I've worked with, placing animals, fostering animals, and finding homes for them.
Cool.
Stop Children's Cancer, Wounded Waters, which works with PTSD.
Yep.
With first responders in our military.
Yep.
And prostate cancer awareness. So these are all things that Below Deck has provided for me to help others and create awareness.
Well, now here's a perfect segue, and thank you, Kerry, because we are going to talk a little bit about mental health and the importance of how you acknowledge, recognize it, and deal with it. Mm-hmm. 14 months ago, I lost my middle son to suicide, and I have PTSD. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And there's the Rick before August 20th, and there's the Rick after August 21st. Yes. And they're two different men completely.
Yeah.
And I stopped apologizing for that in a way, because as I've spent time in this space, I realize how profound grief and loss really is. And so I speak my truth and I speak my story in the hopes that it opens the doors for other men, women that are dealing with such things. And that's one of the reasons why I was hoping that you and I would have this conversation, because you've seen it and you know what it looks like. And, this is an opportunity to find ways to outreach.
Yeah, definitely. And, so people see them dressed nice. I got Donna Mirage gave me this amazing jacket.
Yeah, that's good. I admired that jacket. That's good. That's where you got that.
Yeah.
That's good.
I have nice things. I have a beautiful family, and I get to do some really cool stuff. So, of course, I should be happy, right? But my story is I was the happiest time of my life. We're looking at moving back to Australia with my family. I'm about to start on the 90-meter, my dream, rotation. And I caught my wife cheating on me.
That hurts. That's hard.
And it devastated me. And before then, I was like, I thought I was aware, but I wasn't. I rubbed some dirt on it. If I had crew who were having a rough time at home, I didn't give a shit. Like, just focus on work.
Yeah.
You're here to work. Deal with that later. I didn't have compassion.
Right.
I got to, and then my wife started gaslighting me. It never happened, and then no one likes you, and everyone hates you, and I would try to reach out to friends, and she'd call me a loser.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I early on, I got rid of firearms in the house just because it was a smart thing to do. She started making fun of me. Why are you doing that? What kind of loser are you? Why you can't have a gun in the house? And we argue. Like,
wow, that's brutal.
It was so bad that I didn't get to a place of suicide, but I got a place of understanding where people can get to a moment where they can do some stuff that they just wish they never did.
Yeah.
And might be controversial saying this, but you know when you hear about a man who just killed his family than himself, I was like, piece of shit, just kill yourself.
Yeah.
I could understand his mindset.
Right.
I could have compassion for what's happening to that guy. Not as I was going to do it.
No, but I get it.
You know what I mean? We can't edit all that because I don't want it wrong. But you know what I mean? Like it's I got that low on the bucket, and I'm feeling it now inside. That when I see somebody, and you know, like
you just touch exactly what I try to describe to people. It's like it's like my heart is empty, and I have to work at trying to fill it with love and fill it back with the positive emotional energy that I normally bring and I want, and which normally infuses me. And that's what I lost, and that's what I searched for. And you know, I'm working in a couple of different pathways, including plant-based medicine, to find ways of getting that back and deal with the PTSD. Whether you're on the receiving end and you're dealing with loss and grief, and trust me, what you experienced is true loss. It's the death of your relationship, death of your trust,
family,
and the family. It is horrible.
Yeah.
I tell people, try to remove the taboo.
Yes.
Take the taboo out of it. Understand that this is a life experience some people have, and God, I hope nobody listening to this ever has to experience what I've experienced or what you've experienced. But when you run into somebody, you know somebody that has experienced loss, hold their grief, hold space for the grief, and talk to them. Yeah. For me, it's like I want people to come up and say, "Hey, Rick, I really feel badly for you, and I want to hear Aiden's name, right? That is my healing, and the opportunity to be on camera and know that tens of thousands of people are going to listen to this and go, oh, I didn't realize that that's something I could or should do.
Yeah.
I thought I was being kind just by being quiet.
Yeah.
And I tell you, no, the kindness comes when you engage.
Yeah.
And are
you don't. I understand. So I haven't been in your space, and I think it'd be hard for people because I think some people deal with grief different or deal with growth.
Oh, it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know myself. Like my sister lost her baby shortly after birth, 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it was 20 years ago, or maybe 30 years ago. When we think about this, it was a milestone just a few days ago.
And she still carries the grief.
Yeah, but I don't know how to manage that. You know what I mean? Me, I put my head in the sand. You know what I mean?
You know what you do, brother? You get up every day.
Yeah.
I tell people, every day you got a choice when you get up. You can be happy and positive and embrace the day and embrace the opportunities and just go out with a smile.
Yeah.
Or you can get up miserable, angry, sad, whatever, with a frown on your face and kind of wallow in your feelings, whatever. I choose the first. I make that decision every morning. That's also why we're talking like this, because I'm hoping that from hearing your story, hearing my story, people go, okay, there's something here. Let's look a little deeper.
So I want to explain how I've dealt with it.
Please.
So big one is taking time for yourself, wherever you might be. And I had 2 young kids, and I parent the way my parents parented, but I try to do it a little better. But I still parented like them. So before this happened, I was the enforcer. She was the carer. And that's how it always been.
Yeah.
She was a stay-at-home mum for a good chunk because we wanted that way. I would travel for work. I'd get the phone, talk to your kids, and I'd be mad at them. So the first thing I had to do was...
Put your dad hat on?
Yeah. So the first thing I did is I gave up yachting because I couldn't take care of myself and be responsible for a yacht like that and try to navigate my way through all this.
Yeah.
I went straight to meds to help me. I had a choice, right?
Yeah.
I could live in pity and sorry and get drunk and go find other girls to make me feel better, or I could try to save my marriage somehow and find a way to open myself up and have a good hard look at myself.
Good.
And work out what my contribution was.
Right.
I'm not taking, because there's always a thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying what happened was right.
No.
But
Yeah.
So
it's two people in the relationship.
Yeah. So I went straight into. I took meds to help myself. I got a psychiatrist involved, and then I met with a number of psychologists. I started work on a self-help. I gave up yachting. I got rid of all my ego. That's the biggest part. Get rid of your ego, because you are a victim, but you don't want to stay there for too long.
No.
And it's, and calling yourself a victim, and you're losing some power. But there is a time that you need to be that victim. I get it. But then there's the growth, and there's the ownership, and there's being aware of who you are. And I got rid of the ego. I called up a buddy of mine who is a painting contractor, and I used his crews to paint my houses over the years. I went and joined his crew.
Okay.
Right? So I'm working with the guys that I used to pay to paint houses.
Right.
And they're like, what are you doing here? Like, you're that the big cat. I said,
putting my hand in something.
I said, man, I want to learn from the best.
Okay.
You know, that's what I said to them. I lifted them up, earbuds in. I could do a mindless job, and I could put self-help books and progress that way. So, I came out of that fire and just progressed and progressed. And there's dips along the way, right? And you remember, yesterday's dip, or today's dip is higher than yesterday's high. So, growth is not like that. Growth is, it's going to be like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you're missing the downside too. You get a little bit of the dip before you get to the climb again.
That's right. That's right. But the thing I'm trying to capture is, yes, there's that, but give yourself some credit that today's dip is better than how good you were a year ago. Right?
Yes.
And not to, not to blame yourself for not being in a better place.
Yeah.
I still have triggers from time to time. Like talking just now, I can feel my stomach, I can feel my insides, and it takes me back to how I felt back then. Not the situation, just the energy I was feeling.
Right.
And, the needle of compassion of mine, it got pegged, and I don't like knocking on neighbours' doors and apologising for how I acted in the past.
Right.
And then it kind of aligned a bit where it wasn't as,
Right.
But I took ownership of my part, and I don't live on trying to get back at my ex-wife. I live forwards, what's best for the kids.
That's great advice. It really is. It's a great mindset, because you can't change the past. You can't fix the past. All you have control over is right now.
Yes.
Take this now on board.
Mm-hmm.
You're running a boat, and you start sensing you've got a crew member that is not the same. Something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the captain's role in this, and what are the resources available for crew when there's a crisis or a crisis is coming?
So I'm actually going into a seminar on crew mental health.
Okay.
Which is Yachting Minds Matters, which is access to psychologists for free. It's been put together.
Right.
We're focused on the yacht crew. Now, in the commercial sector, there's another organisation that does it. But that's something I want to talk in more depth. But what I do want to point out is, like myself, they weren't working for me at the time, but I've lost 3 crew. One, he hung himself in the Bahamas, and I knew he had problems, but at the time, I was so focused on him not performing at work,
right,
that him acting out, he was just an arsehole. I didn't really what I mean? And I got rid of the guy because he wasn't performing.
Yeah. Well, that's part of your role too. You have to have a crew that performs. It's not fair for the rest of the crew or the owner.
No.
If you're right.
So you've got this man, you got this time. Then another guy, he got drunk and got on his motorcycle and then but he was having a fight with his girlfriend, and boom. Another crew member getting really drunk and fell off the parasail and up in Palm Harbour Marina, and the tide took him underwater. He couldn't get back up again. So,
wow.
And so they all, for them to act how they are, they all had mental health concerns,
right,
that none of their friends really saw,
right.
And when someone is in another space, is having time for them, and shifting what we used to do, and that is, let's have a beer and sort it out. We've got to move away from that. That alcohol's our way to get away from issues.
Alcohol is at least related 2 of the 3 incidences.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, exactly. Well, in all 3, because the guy hung himself, he would use alcohol to numb himself when he was upset and stressed, and that was part of the reason I got rid of him.
Yeah.
So learning that alcohol isn't our friend, and don't get me wrong, I like a few beverages, but I'll train myself.
Right.
When I'm in a fear-based state, when I'm stressed, I don't drink.
Yeah,
it doesn't help me get through.
No, it turns into a depressant and causes problems.
But I have to get to this next seminar, and we should definitely pick this up and talk more about it.
You know what, Kerry? I think that'd be important. It'd be great to maybe do a conversation that's in depth in this for sure.
Yeah.
I have to say thank you for joining us and sharing an amazing story on an amazing career. I learned a lot today, and I got a lot of respect for your tenacity and what path you took to get where you are. Yeah. So let me let you go on. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day.
Gorgeous.
Thanks for joining Yachting USA, and until the next time, I'm out of here.
All right.